SMR Podcast Network. You should be listening.
Reppin' and hooligan flexin'. ACK reppin' and hooligan flexin'. You a mark, I'm a shark. Flow sharper than a dart. Every time I'm up to bat, it's out the park. You're all bark, no bite. Why you trying to take my life? Cause I'm seeing all this.
We want to thank Hooligan Zoo Crew for their hit single Flex Talk off their debut album From the Outside Looking In. Check out their full album, available now on Amazon, Spotify, and iTunes.com.
And I'm a winner, yeah. You's a loser, yeah. And a hater, yeah. Who's who be flexing, giving out rap lessons, not the ones to be tested. ACK reppin' and hooligan flexing. ACK reppin'.
What's going on, everybody? Smart Mark Radio listeners, or SMR Podcast Network listeners, RWT family, wrestling fans around the world, Retro Rewind fans, what's going down? We're finally back with a new episode of the Retro Rewind. And by we, I mean me. I am here on the solo. The man, your man, Mr. Moses Marquez, your boy, as some like to say. So, yeah, I'm sitting at home. We're trying to figure out what's going on. No Moni. We will have an official update on what's going on with all that when we find out more. But just to say this, her hiatus might be a little bit more permanent than we'd like. But we're not 100% on that just yet. So let's not count it out. But, you know, in this world, in the professional wrestling world, you never say never. So even if for some reason she does decide to take a hiatus, the seat will always be there for her. The Wrestling Nerd Chick is always welcome back to any and every show she wants to be on, mainly because we're great friends, and, you know, that's what they do. You know, people get busy in this world. This is the thing. For those of you, I'm going to pull back the curtain, do a little gorilla position, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if you know what I mean. You know, this is just a hobby for us. You know, we all have regular day jobs. You know, Moni has a regular day job. Paul has a day job. I have a day job. You know, without that day job, we wouldn't even consider this because, you know, we probably wouldn't have the money to pay the bills to even watch the wrestling that we love so much. But thanks to a few liberties, you know, we do this. So we do this for you guys, and we hope you appreciate it as much as we enjoy bringing out all the content. So like I said, it's all love here. Moni will be back, and if she's not, trust me, she will live in infamy, and no one will ever, ever, ever replace her. So before I continue down this ramble that might turn a lot of people off, let's actually get to the real show, the real reason why you're here, and that's the Retro Rewind. I want to say we're in episode 27. And the reason I say that is because when we started doing the Monday Night Wars, we were pretty much basing our episodes or whatever based off of Nitro. We started with episode 1 of Nitro, and we're now at episode 27. So my guess is this would be episode 27. We've had more Retro Rewinds of a different brand. These were old pay-per-views. Check those out. Could be a little bit more up your alley, but let us not wait no longer. I shall jump right into this, and as we do each and every week, we start with the WWF shows / WWE. So, WWF episode 150 of WWF Monday Night Raw, March 11th, 1996, from the Fremont Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas. Show opens up. We get told that Yokozuna and The Undertaker will be teaming up to take on Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. Also, we get an inside look at Bret and Shawn's training, and Roddy Piper is in the house to announce Ultimate Warrior's opponent for Mania and to confront Goldust. So we get an opening match, a very interesting one. Stone Cold Steve Austin, yes, the ringmaster name has already been dropped and is no longer a thing, thank God, taking on a very over Savio Vega. Vince apparently fell in love with the idea of Stone Cold because he says it so many times. It got to the point where I'm like, okay, dude, we fucking get it. Like, I'm getting angry now that you're repeating, oh, he's so stone cold. Look at him. And there's stone cold expressions, and he's just stone cold and stone cold and stone cold. And it was starting to drive me bananas, you know. But, yeah, anyway. To keep it short, the match was pretty all right. It goes back and forth. It started out. Savio makes a comeback. He sends Austin over the ropes to the outside, which leads to the finish as both men were counted out fighting on the apron. They ignore the bell to continue fighting. Vega hits a spinning heel kick to get the heat as Austin walks off. It was pretty much just some regular pro wrestling action. You know what I mean? So, for the most part, I will give it a 2.5. I enjoyed this minus Vince putting over Stone Cold, just how Stone Cold Austin is. I wouldn't mind seeing them fight again, hopefully this time with an actual finish. You know, like I said, it was very back and forth, and it did have its compelling moments. So the next segment we have, Mark Henry is back, cutting an interview. And I believe this is at the time he is training for the Olympics and professional wrestling at the same time, but do not quote me at that. The King does not want his interview to be shown because he gets power slammed in it, and that's pretty much the segment. Then we get a recap of the tag team title tournament, which apparently happened because the Smoking Guns broke up or got fired, or I don't remember what happened. Anyway, that would be a Paul question. This is why Paul's supposed to be here. He's a fucking historian, man. He's the Dave Meltzer to my Brian Alvarez. Anyway, it's Godwin's and the Body Donnas is up next, but before that, Goldust hits the ring as we go to break, and we are shown some limited edition denim jackets. And I'm like, I forgot how big of a thing denim was back in the day. So then Piper's music hits. He makes a beeline for the ring. Vince has to get in between him and Goldust. Roddy says, "What's your malfunction, fruitcake?" He calls him a painted-up transvestite. Roddy says he's made 17 movies, and Goldust has never seen. I've never seen him in catering. He knows he's playing mind games, but Roddy invented mind games. He talked about beating up Adrian Adonis half to death. He talked about beating him half to death with a bat. Excuse me. He says mind games don't work on him. Only great athletes should be Intercontinental Champion. And then he goes on to this next line. He says, well, let's get our sexuality straight. You are what you are, and me, I'm a lesbian. I laughed. Proper Roddy joke. He says that he could tell Goldust takes no pride in the Intercontinental Champion, which is disrespectful to not only him, but the fans as well. Roddy says not even Freddy Krueger comes into his nightmares. Goldust finally gets a hold of the mic. He says he wants a piece of Roddy real bad. Real bad. And he knows he wants a piece of him too. Goldust wants him to come to his back lot. And he wants to get a sneak preview of his junk. The crowd is sick to their stomach to this whole everything Goldust says. And trust me, it was a very awkward feeling in the room. This is one of these things where like Goldust was maybe that guy that made you feel a little embarrassed about being a pro wrestling fan. If you ever was on the TV and your mom would walk in, Mom, I'm not watching wrestling. But I mean, that was meant to be Goldust. Right before it ends, they exchange slaps, and then Roddy says that they're going to have a fight and he'll make a man out of him. So the Godwins get a match here against, I think it's Alex Bordeaux and Jerry Mead. Henry Godwin starts out. Phineas tags in. He starts kicking like a mule, but he hits a he catches a dude for a crossbody hit, and then it goes in. Henry comes in, hits a slop drop in front of the opponent, and then it's a 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, why didn't this fucking jobber dude half-ass make an attempt to break up the pin? But hey. What do I know? I am not enhancement talent. I give it a 1 star because, it happened. So we see Shawn in front of the Alamo. Shawn Michaels, that is. He's joined by Mexican wrestling legend Jose Lothario, his trainer. Jose says he gave everything he had to Shawn, thinking he would give up, and he never did. Shawn says he will never give up because I strive for perfection. That's not what he said, but, I'm building the anticipation here. Bret Video is up next, and he knows that Shawn has a lot of tie-ins with Mexican wrestling and their athleticism. But as far as being tough, that's a different story. Claims he doesn't know any tough Mexican wrestlers. Bret trains with his dad, the legendary Stu Hart, at the famous Hart Dungeon. Bret says he is the best submission wrestler in WWF, which I cannot disagree. He said Shawn doesn't have any real offense besides his big kick. Says Shawn reminds him of a tennis ball, just bouncing all over the place. He says it drives him crazy how people think Shawn is the best wrestler in WWF, but he knows he never, ever will be the best because that is reserved for him. I mean, it was a little bit of an interesting looking at like how they went back. You know, some people knew who trained Shawn Michaels, and then that was a direct insight letting you know it was Jose Lothario. You know, he's trained a little bit more in lucha than he is in, you know, professional American wrestling. Let me reframe, American wrestling. But like I said, overall interesting look. Funny to see like Stu Hart just fucking stretching the crap out of Bret. I thought that was great. We get a Karate Fighters Slam of the Week, and it's Yokozuna Banzai dropping two dudes. Hey, all right. Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Vin Greer. Squash match. He lands some strikes and then a pedigree. He has the Warrior at Mania, and it does not look good for Hunter from what I remember. He came out with some other lady. I forgot what her name was. I didn't even rate this match. It was that short. I gave it a dud. You get a dud from me, that's a problem. So it's time to make fun of some people. Scheme Jeem segment here. Scheme announces that the Huckster versus the Nacho Man will take place on the pre-show of WrestleMania with Billionaire Ted as the special guest referee. And no handcuffs or lady shoes will be allowed at ringside. Terrible training videos by both. Huckster barely trains, and Nacho gets spray-canned hair, which I don't know how that gives him the advantage. Crappy plug by Scheme Jean saying he has the inside scoop if the sun will go down tonight. And I'm like, what? You're fucking reaching, bro. But that was what they thought Scheme Jean was all about. Basic information that you knew, just reiterated, and now you're paying for it. But hey, Jim Ross has a fucking hotline too, bud. And I love Jim Ross. Anyway, main event of the evening. Undertaker and Yokozuna taking on the British Bulldog and Bret Hart. Diesel is sitting gorilla position to get a closer look at Yokozuna. He hopes the rumors aren't true about HBK. Vince asking, well, what are those rumors? Diesel pushes the camera away. Fuck you. Like, okay, whatever. All four guys are in the ring, and faces have the advantage to start out. The ref is just kind of letting all this shit go, I guess. Then all of a sudden, the bell rung, so fuck it. All of a sudden, Diesel comes out. Lays out Paul Bear. Taker notices Diesel walk away. Paul stooges him out. Diesel takes off after Taker, leaving Yokozuna behind. Yokozuna ends up making a comeback on the 2-1 advantage that he had, or that he's against. But when Vader hits the ring, Ahmed Johnson falls right behind him, and then Jake the Snake Roberts. It turns into a fucking giant brawl. Another match turned dud because it just led to a segment. Yokozuna and Vader are ripping at each other over the ring. All over the ring, excuse me. All this prior to Vader and Yokozuna at Mania. We are told Taker chased Diesel out of the building. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is episode 150 of WWF Monday Night Raw. I give it a 1 thumb up and a 1 thumb in the middle. This show wasn't bad by any means. It was rather entertaining. Building Steve Austin is good. Bret versus Shawn is huge. Vader and Yokozuna looks like they hate each other, which is awesome for me. I have no complaints about this show. Okay, I can even dig the squash matches. So, it is what it is. The only candidate I have for WWF, and I will admit that this is the first time we've had a candidate for WWF for Wrestler of the Week. It's been some time. Is the one, the only Roddy Piper, the current in 1996, that is, acting president of WWF. So, that's pretty awesome stuff. I did, however, post on the famous RWT Facebook page, not YouTube page, Facebook page, to garner attention about who we can possibly get voted Wrestler of the Week as based on the fans. If you want to be a part of that, remember, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/SMRPodNet. That is actually where you could find us on all social media, SMRPodNet, on Anchor, on Spotify, on iTunes, on all of it. That's how you get to us. But anyway, let us continue onward to the next one. And the next one here is episode 27 of WCW Monday Night Nitro, also March 11th, 1996, from the LJVM Coliseum in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Show starts off with Bischoff telling us that there's a new television champion who will be in action tonight. We get the Nasty Boys versus the Road Warriors and the promised 6-man tag team strap match. When the fuck did it turn into a strap match? My exact words. According to Bobby the Brain Heenan, it's not only a strap match, but it's a lumberjack match, and everybody's going to have straps. Why? Why? What the fuck? What is that necessary for? Is that even half necessary? So, we get the opening match, and the opening match is Jim Duggan versus the Giant. This match is so uninteresting that there is a ruckus in the crowd that grabs everyone in the arena's attention, including the commentaries and mine as well. Apparently, it was Brian Pillman in the crowd causing said riot, and he got eventually pulled out of that position. Duggan fights out of a bear hug by biting the nose of the Giant. There's a joke about Duggan's dad breaking his hip reaching for a donut because he's a cop. 3-point stance into a clothesline sends Giant over the top rope. Duggan makes a comeback, but it's shut down because he headbutted the Giant. He tapes his fist with electrical tape and is able to get the Giant off of his feet with a flurry of punches. Now, hold on, and then I'm going to finish this real quick. Jimmy Hart tries to take the tape away, which only distracts Duggan right into the chokeslam for the win. Okay, so let me reiterate something really quick. I put my phone down. I'm looking directly into this mic because this is very serious right now. For those of you who are unaware, electrical tape is made of rubber. Okay? The reason electrical tape is made of rubber is because rubber cannot, conduct electricity. So it's, it helps in a situation where if exposed copper is there, you can use it to keep it flat. And so for these people that are like, oh, well, he taped his hand, it makes it like a harder thing. When they do that, it's sports tape. For anybody that knows sports tape is like, it's like paper that's sticky, okay? And if you wrap it so much, it'll build. You know what I mean? If you wrap it so high, it'll fucking build. And then that's when it builds. And then when you punch a dude, you got something to punch him with. You know what I mean? It's not this fucking rubber thing that kind of is like, meh, it's a little softy. No, you got this hard, like, taped fist. But anyways, ass backwards. I'm talking way too fucking much about this match. 1.5 stars. Went way too long. Duggan had like 2 comebacks, which was completely unnecessary. All of a sudden, the entranceway is like randomly covered up, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? We hear just like the loudest Harleys that you've heard in 1996, because God only knows that they've gotten louder. And all of a sudden come out 2 of these men, these 2 monstrous men who are fresh off of their WWF run or whatever. They've just left WWF. They just showed up in WCW, and that being the Steiner brothers. Okay, I'm actually wrong about that. Either they just left WWF or they just left New Japan. One of the two. I have to double check that. Again, if I had a historian, let alone a co-host here, I could at least do the research. But anyway, so it's the Road Warriors versus the Nasty Boys, but the Nasty Boys are nowhere to be seen, and that's where the Steiner brothers are like, hey, you want to fight? We're all about it. So Scott Steiner, who's getting called Scotty, all fucking match long, and it threw me off. Okay, it really did. It was all Scotty this, Scotty that. Scotty with the clothesline. Oh, Scotty with the suplex. Scotty. And I'm like, dude, stop saying Scotty. Stop it. Just fucking stop it. It got so fucking annoying. But you know what didn't get annoying? This fucking match. This match fucking killed it. Let me get into it real quick. Apparently, it was supposed to be the Nasty Boys, but they got hurt, and that doesn't matter. Scott Steiner is huge. He's not Papa Pump huge, but he's pretty fucking close. Pretty evenly matched to start out between Hawk and Scott, and then Scott and Animal share a visual salute. Animal comes in, manhandles Rick Steiner, starts out. Rick comes back with a flurry of offense, including a top rope suplex, which looks fantastic. Heenan cracks a joke about Rick's helmet. Mongo says, well, yeah, he doesn't want to get cauliflower ears. Thank you, Mongo. And I'm so glad I wrote that down. I have to tell this story. So, I'm not saying this to, like, plug myself like I'm some great wrestler. Like, I can get on the mat today and beat a lot of people's ass. But back in the day, I knew what I was doing. Let's just go with that. I knew what I was doing. But this is not about that. What this is about is the headgear. I used to have a coach who would tell freshmen, you have to wear the headgear. You have to wear it tight. And, well, they tell you that because because like guys would wear it and it's not strapped on and it's kind of loose. And then when, truth be told, and then when you're getting fucking your face dragged across the mat and there's nothing but sweat and dirt and just fucking gross, and your ear gets exposed, and it just gets this nasty cauliflower ear that has to be drained, mind you. It has to be drained. It's not we can pop it. Oh, I'll fucking ice it. No, they get a fucking needle that's, I want to say, about 3 inches long, and about a good half an inch of it goes right into your fucking ear. Okay, it's not fun. I've had it done on several occasions because my stupid ass in my early years wouldn't wear the fucking headgear right. But he made the comment. He's just like, oh, well, I know it's drafty. I also had a coach that would intimidate freshmen by saying that if you didn't wear your headgear right and it was falling off, opponents would reach up, grab it, and then bite your ear. That's a shoot. He says if you're in ref's position and you go to sit down and your ear's exposed, they're going to bite your ear. And it's like, what the Anyway, that a little bit of my history for you. This is California wrestling. But to get into to finish up this whole spectacular fucking match, dropkick by Rick Steiner. Looks like Animal bumped before contact, but it could have easily been the camera angle. Doomsday Device is broken up by Scott. Huge diving clothesline by onto Animal, but it's two bulls jumping off the top rope. Frankensteiner by Scott. Electric chair into the bulldog, but Animal hits Rick with a forearm pad for the win. I fucking loved this. It was a heel win, a heel team win with heel team tactics. I gave this match a 4. I'm going to say this was my match of the night on either shows. And trust me, we get a whole lot more of the Steiners. They are not going away. Mean Gene is in the ring with the Steiners. Scott says that they waited in Japan for them, and they will wait no more. Now they're here in WCW just to get their hands on the Road Warriors. He goes on to say that the way they won was a disgrace. Gene tries to pause him, but he blows right past it, saying the Road Warriors were set the tempo, and any issue they have with them, they can take it up with them. Rick says that they're here to wrestle, and this is how it ends. To be honest, Scott barely made any sense, and I've heard him since the 80s, and I'm going to be super honest with you. Like, everybody makes a big giant deal of, oh, Steiner math, and this. Half of his promos don't make any fucking sense. This guy's so out of his mind. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Okay? Not like Sting out of his mind where it's awesome, and he's just like, oh, he's just so out of his mind, it's fantastic. No, like, he gets lost in translation of his own brain. I swear it happens. Anyway. So WCW television title match, your new WCW television champion, the total package, Lex Luger taking on Alex Wright, Das Wunderkid. My immediate writing downs was this: what the fuck? Lex is the TV champ? When the fuck did this happen? I never found out. Of course, we get a commercial about Mean Gene's hotline, but the whole commercial is him just snooping on everybody in WCW. He's in, like, closets. He's in underneath people's beds. He's in corners of tables of restaurants. And it's just like, I'm like, dude, do you not have a life? Anyway, Heenan claims that Luger is the first to hold the WCW television champion and tag team championship simultaneously. I wanted to look in that, but I stopped giving a shit. Wright looked great. Head scissors takedown into a plancha, double axe handle, military press by Slam as he makes his comeback. Crossbody by Wright, but Lex answers back with the snake eyes, catching him onto the turnbuckle. Wright has the comeback of a lifetime, which Luger keeps him on the mat. But as he goes for a moonsault, Jimmy Hart distracts him, which leads to the finish. Shocking. I still rather fucking enjoyed this match. When Luger is on, he is on. I gave it a 3. Das Wunderkid is the fucking man. 6-man tag, double strap match, lumberjacks with straps. Flair, Arn Anderson, Kevin Sullivan, taking on Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and the Booty Man, the former Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who was also the Zodiac for a while. So, I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's a brawl. What else did you expect? Giant and Loch Ness start fighting just because. Hogan, of course, no-sells Flair's chops, which always make me angry. Now the Lumberjacks are fighting each other just because. Random girl comes out. I don't know what the fuck she wants, but she's hot. Flair tries to take off, but Animal carries him back. The brawl continues. Hogan's getting whipped by Malenko and Regal. What the fuck is Malenko wearing? He's dressed up like Regal. He was one of the Blue Boys. I just laughed. I was like, what the fuck are you wearing, bro? Hogan and Sullivan look a lot alike, and that's not a joke. You make one dude taller and get rid of his gut, and you swear to God, they were brothers. Brother. Anyway. So out of nowhere, Hogan hits a big boot and a leg drop for the win. I gave it a 1. This is a clusterfuck. It's funny, but I don't know. But not exactly a good way to end the show. But hey, what the fuck do I know? I just do a podcast about professional wrestling. I don't know jack shit. It's not like I've been watching for 20 fucking some odd years. But again, this is 1996. And hopefully that's self-explanatory. So, Mean Gene comes out and he says, what am I, chopped liver? Because everybody's pretty much ignoring him. Sullivan says, you have 4 cages to go through, Hogan. Arn says that he is married to Savage and Hogan because it's death till they part, and he agrees the match will be anything but professional wrestling. By death till their part is this like rivalry won't end until one of them dies. Which, by the way, I use the same analogy in going for the Knowledge Championship against one Michael Larkin. It's death do us part. So, unless I die, and I'm all about that hot dang knowledge, a tatal. Anyway, let's get back to this not so good promo segment. He agrees that, anyway, the match will be anything but professional. Flair says that he can beat, that you can beat Arn Anderson and you can beat Kevin Sullivan and you can whip me, but you will never take woman. And then I'm like, what? He's out of his fucking mind. He taunts Flair, and he says he says Hogan wants he says he wants Hogan. Jesus Christ! And taunts Savage by saying, "Look what I got! Look at what I got!" And it's his wife Elizabeth. Bischoff says, "We've seen wars before, but not like this." Heenan says Hogan is a marked man. Flair rushes the announce table, but Bischoff shoos him off. 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed this a lot, but the ending kind of put a damper on the whole thing, but I will stick with my 2. I threw Alex Wright in my original notes as Wrestler of the Week, and I did not include him in the runnings that I put up. I put up a poll, like I said, on RWT, and if you follow us on Facebook, you'll be able to go ahead and follow RWT as well. So again, facebook.com/SMRPodNet, and it'll help you get to RWT Facebook page, the Raw Wrestling Talk. And with that being said, the 3 candidates for Wrestler of the Week for this evening: WWF's Roddy Piper, WCW's The Steiner Brothers, and WCW's The Road Warriors. And by a nice 3-2 or 3-1 vote, the president, Roddy Piper, takes this week's Wrestler of the Week. And you know how it goes, folks. You'll catch his entrance as the closing of this show. And because I am doing this show by my solo, I have to take care of all the plugs. So you can catch my co-host, Mr. Paul Morales, all over social media as RWT_Deadman on Instagram, on Twitter. You can catch him, Paul Morales, on Facebook. Link in the link tree below. Folks, that link tree is an absolute lifesaver. It is linktr.ee/smartmarkradio. I know it's not simple. It's like Linktree. .ee. I forgot what the fuck. Anyway, the point is like the social medias are on there. Our Twitters, our Facebook pages, YouTube pages, interesting YouTube pages. Fucking a thing to the RWT YouTube group is on there. Facebook group, all that shit. All of it. All of it. For us, you can catch us on our new Twitter, and please give us a follow so we know that you're still with us. Unfortunately, like I gave the story last week, or actually the other night, I should say, on how it was deleted because we put 1 year as our birth date, and they threw a big old fit. So you can catch us now on our new Twitter page, SMRPodNet. That's right, Twitter at SMRPodNet. Same thing with Facebook. Hey, what do you know? It's a trend that's not going away, folks. Also, of course, catch us on anchor.fm/SMRPodNet, because that is our new home. SoundCloud is no longer our home. Our home is anchor.fm/SMRPodNet. We are still available on iTunes, still available on Spotify, and still available on Google Play. But for those of you interested in podcasting, anchor.fm is a great way to try things out and all that fun jazz. Hell, listening to the open for the show to find out more. Anyway, with all that being said, I'm going to hurry up and get this thing done so I can get it edited, so I can get it out for you fine folks. Roddy Piper, Wrestler of the Week. Remember, we will be back next Monday, with a brand new episode of the Mo and Deadman Show. Back again on Tuesday with the Retro Rewind. And quite possibly this weekend with a quite possible new show. I know we've announced it, but unfortunately we're having some more issues, and I don't want to make it a guarantee, but if it goes down, it will go down on the weekend. I appreciate y'all. We will catch y'all around the bend. Peace out. Enjoy your Tuesdays. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy early Thanksgiving.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I want to visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I want to visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive. Nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow those lines, we'll make it this time. Blurry street lights, work as a guide to memories that we're making tonight.
SMR Podcast Network. You should be listening.